Why, when, and for whom does it make sense to upgrade to a super awesome luxury quad rig outboard day boat? Why? Possibly for those of you who are living potentially busy but very active lives, and you have lots of activities in your life and you don't just want to dedicate all of your time to boating. So you want something that's simple and easy to use and gives you a lot of fun with a lot less hassle. When? I'm imagining those of you who are at a stage of life where you're settled in the place that you love living, you've got everything close at hand, and perhaps you're not working as much, so logistically, it's very easy for you to pop down to your boat, whether that's a short drive or literally in front of your house. And for whom, I'm thinking those of you who have done the big boat thing. So you've enjoyed your boat life at an earlier stage with 3 and 4 cabins on your boat, and you were doing the whole weekends on board. But now that you've really reached that, I'm thinking kind of apex in living of your life, everything's kind of consolidated and you don't really need to do the overnights because you've got a super nice house and you're perfectly happy going back there at the end of the day. So you want the ability to entertain or fish or do some of your corporate boating, whatever works for you, on something very comfortable, very dry, very fishable if it needs to be, but very sports activity based if it needs to be as well. So you're looking for something that does all of it and it's less of a muckabout for you when you want to just jump on a plane and go somewhere else or get into some of your other activities. The Grady White Freedom 415, ladies and gents, I think this is a boat that fits really nicely in that category to those of you who perhaps meet that demographic. My name's Dan Jones. Welcome to Dan's Boat Life, and we're in Sydney, my old stomping ground, as a matter of fact. I lived just over there once upon a time. So yeah, we're going to be doing the detailed tour on this beautiful piece of kit, and it really is, this is top quality stuff. You can't compare a Grady with a mass market production boat. It is somewhat on its own in terms of the construction and the feeling that you get going through the waves. I'm trying to put this in a way that'll make sense to everyone, so forgive me. In the next video, for those of you who are interested in buying one of these, we're going to demonstrate all of that. But right now, I'm just going to walk you through the whole concept and what's going on, and then you guys can jump in the comments and let us know what you think. So we're running the Quad 450 Yammies on the back. These ones were actually a lot quieter than what I'm used to. I'm not sure if that's the sound reduction kit or whether it's just the design of this boat, because as you may or may not have noticed, this is a dual console, so we've got incredible weather protection. We're going to get right to that in a second because I just wanted to start here on the Transom. But it is a fishing focused boat, therefore we want to be able to go offshore, therefore having big open transoms or transom doors may or may not, or essentially it's not going to suit this style of boat because we want to be able to have water washing up here and not flooding the decks. But there's also a functional reason to that, which I'm going to get to in a second. If we do take water on board, they're going to exit through these big scuppers here and exactly the same spot on the other side. We do have shore power and diesel in because we have a generator and a gyro on this boat. So that's the shore power, that is the diesel in. And these are the pop-up cleats. We do have some rod holders here. This is actually a fender mount, so we can deploy some fenders. But I'm just going to pop open these hatches and explain to you what's happening here. This is actually the world's biggest fridge. So this is electrified. So the only way you can tell is by seeing the Dometic, because the electrical plate is actually behind the insulation of the fiberglass. So it's out of sight, but this is an electric compartmentalized fridge. So you can use it in the fridge function. As you can see, we've actually stored a few items in here as well, or you can just do full party mode or fish mode, because obviously it does serve that mission quite well. And if you are, you can do your live baits here, and same on the other side. And once you're hauling up the big fish, we do actually have side opening doors both on port and starboard. Pretty easy to operate. You just push in like so, or sorry, pull out, there you go, and then you open it up. And see this stainless pieces here and here, that is the catch for facilitating the dive ladder. Okay, so that actually just stores back here. That's when we want to put it in swimming or diving mode, so we can pull fish on board. We can utilize that for some of our other sports should we need. And this is a fold out lounge, aft lounge facing forward, but we can also get access under here to the equipment space. We're going to get into there a little bit later in the tour because there's quite a bit to talk about up here first. So I'll just close that. One thing I like about this design is this reminds me of a big boat. So if you're coming from something like a Riviera Flybridge and you're looking for simplicity, you will get that. You're going to get huge amount of deck space. This is going to be a familiar style to you. And if that's what you do, but now you don't want the complexity of the Flybridge or the operational complexity or the extra cabins that you are no longer using, you're still going to achieve all of this. We can protect ourselves with a Sure Shade that electrically deploys overhead. The fixed roof starts just here. So we've got some LED lights. We can illuminate this whole area when we're working, but you can see entertainment is definitely a focus on this boat. Entertainment, weather protection, and running comfortably at speed, which we'll get to in a second. So this is all plastic, but it's been stainless steel face. So I'm not worried about salt water at all. So that's a fridge, that's a bin, and then we got 3 drawers, soft closers, stereo and subwoofer speakers here and here, and gas, as the Americans call it, that's our petrol tank in, and we have the same on starboard. So both tanks can be accessible depending on whether you want to pull in on port or starboard. This is cool. The Barbie, that just slides out. It's got all backlighting for nighttime, and you can operate the Barbie. That's a Kenyan. Then you also have a sink in here, heavy stone. But behind this, I like this feature. I like how they've done the wooden touches, but they've kept the wooden touches out of the weather. So the boat, when it's going to be closed up, this is going to be out of the weather. So that's high gloss varnish, looks beautiful. And you literally just press a button here and you can expose the drinks cabinet just there. So super handy when you're in party mode, and you've got this ledge up ahead or up on top to put a few items should you need. Now, one of the things that you need to consider when you are docking or berthing a boat like this, you don't have access up the side deck. So the advantage is we have a huge amount of space protected, usable inside the boat, but you can't walk up the side. So just bear that in mind. Therefore, that's why we have our aft cleat there, and then we have our midships cleat here. So it is still just reachable. That's okay, that's workable. And then we can also deploy another fender there. So just factor that in when you are coming into the dock, or when you're thinking about whatever your dock looks like. Rocket launcher's just here. We can actually do the outriggers. That's the base. You can option that for one of these should you wish. Beautiful rod storage. Look at the timber finishing just up there. Great place to put it. It's never going to get any sun on it, and it looks lovely. Kind of falls, your eyes just fall to that quite nicely. Grab hold, useful, downlight, sensible where you need it. And then this is going to be one of the best seats in the house when running at speed or when you're fishing. Observe the action, but you're completely protected from wind and sun and rain in this position. So that's nice. You've got these fold down armrests. You've got a drink holder. Put your phone there. You've actually got a charging point as well. Speaker here. Your water tank in is just there. And we've actually got storage just here. And that is your deck washdown just there. Sensibly placed. And obviously I like, practical grippy fiberglass deck as opposed to teaking it, because that's not the vibe we'd go for on a boat like this. But this is air conditioning. That is cool. That's going to be great for Queensland. My mates in Florida are going to love that as well. These drink holders are all proper size, so you can put a tinny with a cooler and everything's going to be sorted. And then when we get into this area, let's put this phone over here. So currently it's in U-shaped social mode. So we can all utilize this space and have a meal with a few people here. This will also halve in size, and look how we've still got the fiddles here and the little drink holders built in. However, just have a look at these legs. So these electrically operate, and under my bum is actually another table. So we can, when you wish, press a button, get rid of this cushion and have full dining for multiple people facing forward and aft. We do have AC, so you can spray that in between your legs or on your body, depending on how hot you are. You'll be super comfy. You can charge your phones just there, drink holders along the side. And if you're not familiar with these hulls, they're running on what they call a CV2 hull. They are fantastic hulls in the ocean and running upwind, upswell. You can maintain comfortable speeds with guests or people who are not familiar with the ocean in your mid-20s. We'll go plenty faster than that. But imagine sitting here with this view, with this huge amount of glass all around. People who are not boaters, I'm thinking, you know, some of your corporate mates who visit Sydney and you want to just close a deal or show them around town, they're going to feel safe and they're going to be comfortable and they're going to feel secure on a boat like this. And it's even more so when you go up to a displacement and a length like this. So obviously the bigger a boat gets, or not obviously, the bigger a boat gets, the more displacement, the more length you have, the smoother it is gliding from one wave to the next one. So if you're taking out guests or partners who aren't boaters, they're going to be really comfortable. And I see this boat being a multi-mission boat. I see you being able to take your corporate mates out on a Friday and do that whole thing comfortably. I see you being able to do hard fishing with your buddies on a Saturday. And I can also see the ladies or the kids loving this on a Sunday. We're going to get to that in a second, because with this bow lounge, with this social space, with this sun protection, it's full-on multifunctional, multi-mission function and easy for you to drive, which is why I like it a lot. Okay, so the dash, dark colored, so that's going to stop too much reflection coming back in your face. You always want to be careful if you have white particularly above the chart plotter. That's a problem, but we don't have that on this one. Got a nice carbon finish. We can put two panels. This one has been fitted with the one. We'd definitely be able to put a second one there. Drink holders on either side. And then we have air conditioning vents for skipper and navigator, zip wakes, Yamahas, C-Zone. We've got all your system from windlass, the shore shade, the sunroof, the vents. That's worth pointing out. Yes, you can just run the air conditioning, but if you want some natural ventilation, you can actually just open these corner vents, just like the old cars. I used to have a Mini Cooper that had one of these that was manually operated, but that works great. So you can suck in a bit of air, and even if you're in the ocean, I would, if I didn't feel like running the air conditioning, I might just open the leeward vent and leave the windward one that's getting the salt spray closed. And then you have this center upper vent, which can be opened. I'll just point it out. And you can still suck this amount of air in as you wish, which is going to be fine in almost any conditions. And we still also have this opening sunroof overhead. So a lot of flexibility there. Let me just finish some of the features on the Helm. I just wanted to talk to you about that, because some of you might be looking at this glass and going, oh, I'm going to get a bit hot behind all that glass. It's not the case. There's lots of options. So VHF, the Yamaha throttles, we've got the joystick. It's a great system, this one. And because it's heavier and because it's quite wide and the two outer engines have quite a distance between them, it does function quite well. So some joysticks on the lighter boats, or when it's just two motors super close together, they have to work a lot harder. When we've got multiple engines, the leverage applied with engines out wide is a lot more. We still have a bow thruster, so we can control ourselves with the bow thrust if we need. We do have an autopilot, so that's a start-stop, and we can do autopilot here. That's your Fireboy system. These are your wiper controls. That is your phone. You do want one of these on an offshore boat. You don't just want to sit your phone on the dash because it'll bounce off, so that works, and it will charge your phone as well. And then your Fusion stereo, that's the primary unit for the Fusion just there. As you can see, we've got a fire extinguisher, subwoofer, we've got a little bit of storage tucked in there, and we've even got a glove box just in here. That's neat. These seats, super comfy, really, really nice. You can flip down the armrest. They will electrically go forward and aft. And we do have this footrest here. However, I didn't even use it today because I found myself super comfy transiting from here to here, and then also that transit. Then again, if you were going to sit like that, that kind of makes sense. And then when you are underway, the bow raise on acceleration through the whole rev range, it's not so much that you need to be standing up all the time. It's very much possible to be a sit and drive, particularly if you just give it a little bit of juice on acceleration and get the boat moving, sit on 25 knots or so and settle into the cruise. Should do a lot more than that though, you'll see in the next video. So we do have some storage underneath the helm. Okay, so you've got this drawer here and you've got this one as well. That's technical access as well, but just letting you know, you can see we've mounted the EPIRB just there. Under the floor here, deep storage, so you could do what you wish with this space. However, an easier to access place, if you just release this hatch here, boom, boom, that's on gas struts, and that seems like a more logical place for various items and easy to get to. But there's so many options on this boat because wait till you see the accommodation. For your safety gear, as you can see, we've actually got life jackets, accessible, high. It seems that's a logical place to put them. And oh, someone's getting busted, speeding through the 4-knot zone. There you go. It's school holidays here, so naughty, naughty. Okay, so above here is actually another storage area. I think this is great for phones and valuables because it's nothing's ever going to get wet up here, and you actually have another ledge up and over the top where you could put other items, so that's super handy. Love it. And on this side above there's a button operated, actually I might as well just do it, TV. So I imagine you could probably run some of your navigation through here. Jump in the comments if I'm correct or not. So if you were fishing and you wanted to do that, obviously it's also for watching the cricket. And I imagine you can do a bigger TV than this because if we just look at the size of the hatch, I would say that's possible. And boom, boom, you can set it up as you see fit. This is useful for the ocean. And then we can knock out the sun with these, or we can fully open it up. So you can see that's the sun block out, that's the Mozzie screen, but it'll also just reduce a little bit of the heat load if it's necessary. The head, probably the best head you will find on a boat like this. It's huge. So this is the difference. If a lot of you have come from styles like this, but we're down in the smaller sizes, you know, this is a full stand-up head, loads of space. We've got a hanging locker. We've got more deep storage in here and here, access into the helm, charging points, air conditioning, privacy screens, lights are controlled just there. But look at the marble finish, all of these. Push button like that and you can get in behind. You'd be able to put multiple toiletry bags behind here, and then you've even got boom, boom, a little bin in here. Super well done, to be fair. This is really nicely done. And then they've even got stainless steel shampoo and soap holders down there because this is a wet head. This is our shower, and you could do a sit down shower, but obviously that folds up. We've got the dunny just below. It does have a holding tank. It's electric flush, freshwater flush, and then I saw more storage behind here for various items. Super good. Courtesy lighting and floor lighting as well. Now, I just want to point this out. Depending where you are in the world, you might, for example, I live in Thailand. We're going to have this door open all the time because we want the air. However, you know, up in Maine, beautiful place, great place to run a boat like this, it gets kind of cold. So I would be closing this door, and you can lock it in the closed position, and it's just a windbreak. So it's going to stop too much air. That's just magnetic. It's going to stop too much airflow running through the cabin, and it'll keep you much more comfortable. So this will actually just manually close. It's got a lock to hold it in the open position, because when the wind is up, you don't want the wind catching it and slamming it shut. It's all toughened glass, but I still wouldn't want that. And then once it's closed, you electrically close this one and it locks it all into place. So we've got a windscreen wiper with freshwater wash on either side. And this, to be fair, this is where the American boats really stand out when compared to a lot of the European competition. A lot of the European boats, I filmed them all, they're great, but that's a different concept. They're going for narrower bows, not flare, so you have to drive them a little bit more technically, whereas a hull like this, it's got the mass behind it, the weight and the flare, which allows you to proceed in kind of any direction at a considerable speed, and it's just going to displace the water. It also allows you, within reason, always do this safely and don't go ripping out through haulover inlet with an outgoing tide and incoming sea like this, but it allows you to run with your family in the bow. So if you're going over powerboat wash, and we went over the wash of a big tugboat today, which was putting out 1.5 meters of waves behind it, and it was still okay. It just absolutely eats it up. So if you want your kids or your wife to be able to sit here, I know a lot of people really like to do this and enjoy the ride, this is a great boat to do it on. Also, as you may have noticed, this is actually a lunch table. So we've just put one up and left one down because it's the same. So beautifully done. The cushion sits over the top there. It electrically raises. You've got your switches just there. We also have a swim shower. So if you've boarded from the bow or you're just in this area and you want to wash yourself, there's a shower accessible just there. So that's handy. But we've got drink holders, charging points. We had these charging points back aft in the cockpit next to the helm and up in the bow, so it's a full modern boat from a kid's perspective. All of these backrests are perfectly done in terms of an angle. The cushions are comfortable. We've got these fold down armrests on either side, and then accessing the anchor locker is through this hatch under here, and I'm gonna open it so you can see. Boom, boom. Super simple. We've gal chained stainless anchor. We've got one cleat in here, that's our safety, and you can operate it from the bow and also back in the helm as well. And in terms of sun protection, we do have some carbon poles which fit into these bases. There's 4 of them. So whilst we have the electrically deployable Sure Shade back aft, this one you have to deploy. So if you are deploying it, what I would suggest you do, put your poles in place and then clip the windward side on first and then do the downwind or the leeward side. So it's typically, if you're on anchor, it's going to be here, and then it won't be hard to deploy. And then everyone's in shade. And then these are your forward midships cleats. So as opposed to having one set of cleats in the middle of the boat, which we can't access because we have windows there, we have one set here and one set just aft of the windows. So from an operational perspective, you just have to remember that and then just set the boat up as you see fit. There is storage underneath these seats. I didn't get in there. Just a second. Let me just pop one just so you can see. You can get in underneath all of these, okay? So I'll B-roll some of that so you can see that a bit later. So a wonderful space. Don't forget, you fishers, you're probably going to want to cast from up here as well. This boat can be stabilized with a gyro. We have the generator, as I mentioned before, but it doesn't end. It's got a full-on cabin down here that'll sleep a few. This is where the boat really shines for those of you who need it. So we've actually got, in my opinion, sleeping for 4 people. You know, look at the, if I'll put my head on the end, Okay, this person is a little bit close to there, but technically, look, you could definitely get 2 people. Massive bed. It's a lounging area as well, so you can hang back here. This will remove, so then you've got a bit of a footwell and space, air conditioning, charging, and you can even come down here and do a little bit of work from boat vibes if you need to. You've got a storage space in there, and you can put some of your items up here, a little mirror as well. So this is super functional. Got the microwave, more storage up above this. Does that move? No, it's all nicely padded. The angles are great. So really good little hangout zone. And then you've also have a TV, the boat's control panel. So we've got the 240 volt, we've got the C zone just here. So everything that you need to activate power and operate the boat for the day. But this is also cool. So you've got this ledge here where you can throw some bags. It makes it an easy place to grab items. But then when you want to actually use this in sleeping mode, you just do that. Still got plastic on the cushions because it's a new boat, but I'll just give you a size. It's a proper sleeping bed. So if you want to use it, as I imagine most of you will, in full day boat function, you're going to have anywhere up to 19 people in total on this thing. So you'll potentially load this area with bags and all your kit and just leave everything that you need for the day on deck. Or if you're in couples mode and want to go out for the occasional night, you're somewhere nice and you're like, you know what, this is great, we'll stay here for the evening, you can. All right, so this is the equipment space where your genset is located. So diesel genset, the tank is just there. You can see your marine fuel and water separators, so that's for the motors just there. Your sump box is on the starboard side. And give me the camera, I'll just take you down with me. We've got the battery bank, boom, boom, forward. So she's essentially the equipment space. You're not gonna go storing anything down here. And now I'm just looking back aft. You can see all the important stuff, but you may need to access the Fisher Panda, and that's how you do it. Also some storage just here for the ladder. So that's the boat, ladies and gents. So come to the front and we'll close it up here with a beautiful view. What demographic is going to see the most value from owning something like this? What sort of experience levels would you require to drive it confidently? And then how does it drive? And what should you compare her with? I think that honestly the demographic that are going to see the most value are those of you who are potentially stepping down from a bigger boat. You will see so much common sense in this design. You can utilize all of this space, and if you have designed your life, or you're at that stage of life where you can just pop down to the water, or it's in front of your house and you've got all the places that you know you like to go, and particularly those of you with multi-mission boating in mind, fishing, family, entertaining, this thing will do all of that, and it's not going to limit your area of operations because of this hull and because of those big windows. So everyone's going to be comfortable. You can set the temperature, you can cocoon everyone or open it up depending on what Mother Nature is dishing up for the day, and you're going to have fun. How much experience do you need? A little bit. If it's your first boat, it might be a little bit daunting. I don't think that's you anyway. So if you're coming down from any large sedan cruiser, any flybridge motor yacht, you will absolutely boss this. The joystick parking makes life a lot easier. However, even if you're coming from shafts, because this is a moderately heavy boat for an outboard, she doesn't overtake you in the way she accelerates from 0 to hero. So things happen at a steady rate of acceleration and deceleration and banking into the turns. So it is quite a predictable hull, and it's quite a forgiving hull. So with the right amount of experience, you're just going to be able to run this thing easily by yourself. I don't see the need to run it with multiple people, although obviously the more hands you have, the easier life can be. How does it drive? We're covering that in the next video, and what should you compare it with? I'll close on that in the next video as well. So for those of you who want to talk about pricing or ask me questions, that's on my Patreon. Link is down below in the description. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for your support. You're all bloody legends. See you in the next video.